Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. And it's been a while since I've posted anything, so I'm going to, I think I have a lot of things to share and about my experiences over the last week and a half since my last post. So if you have seen my recent post, my last step in my process toward my beloved Pathfinder journey that I'm on, I was led to send my twin a message where I just really shared some things that were on my heart, and in doing that I really had a pretty strong feeling that he most likely wouldn't watch it, or that actually I got that he wouldn't watch it until he's ready. So just at this point he still hasn't seen it or watched it yet. And then I also had known going into it that I was confident it was going to end up triggering me some, there would be things that would be triggered for me in this, and sure enough there were. It took about a week for it to really start kicking in. And I went through the process of another spiral on the journey of of ascension. And for me, as I really hit the darkest time in that that process, in that upward spiral, it really hit me hard last weekend. A week ago today on Friday, I was just really being overcome by a lot of doubts, fears, all of these things that are being brought up for me is the next step of things to clear. And in my journey so far, I've really discovered that these kinds of occasions are really important for us to recognize as a step in the process of what I call leveling up. And in it, when you're in that, and I know you guys have all been there many times, when you're in it, you're just like, I've been here before, I've done this before, I know what some tools are toward, aligning with the vibration that I want to be in. And yet when you're in it, it's kind of overwhelming. You're just like, maybe even sometimes the tools that you did before aren't working as effectively, which is kind of what I had happen with me. And now in looking back on it, and I knew, even when I was in it, I recognized that this is because I'm being pushed to discover something really significant, something that is beyond what I've already been doing so far. I also feel that I myself am really close to union with my twin, and I get the sense that as we are getting closer and closer to union, that we're having things brought up, even more that are kind of like at the deepest level. And also we're having a lot of pushback from the darker energies that are that are really out to their desire is to keep twins from uniting, because we twins have a lot of power. We're at kind of in a sense the forefront of the process of awakening and ascension. There's many other light workers, very important light workers as well, but the Twin Flame Collective is the largest particular type of group of light workers that they have a very specific purpose of healing the divide between the schism between the masculine and the feminine. And with that, because that's the energies of this earth, where they have gotten to in the history of the patriarchal domination over the last 10,000 years or more, those are really, really deeply ingrained. And so as we're getting closer and closer to the physical union with our twins, the deepest stuff is being brought up. And the energies that are out there are darker energies that feed off of the negativity of this planet, and they don't like to see it change. Those are noticing as we are raising our vibration and we're getting closer. So those are coming in. And I have to say that it was not like I ever discredited the idea of darker forces or energies. It hadn't yet been brought into my experience to deal with. And that's what happened this last weekend for me. So that was, part of this leveling up. So I'll just go ahead and tell you what happened, because I feel like my experience will be something that many of you've been going through this already. Maybe you've already discovered the things that I found out this last weekend and through this last week, or maybe you haven't. But if not, or even if you have, just pay attention, because these are the tools that can help us with leveling up and getting to the next step and the next phase. So as I was just really in some of the deepest, darkest places emotionally that I had been in a long time, I shut down pretty much entirely wasn't even talking to 2 or 3 of my closer, twin flame support friends who, we've been in a lot of communication since I've met them recently. And I let them know, I just said, hey, I'm just, really going through a really hard time right now, and I'll be okay, but I couldn't even talk to anybody. And one of them that I was speaking with was Allison Lassard, and she said, Kimberly, I really feel like, what's going to help you is Jill and Remy's, the twin flame healers. And she had had a session with them in the last couple of weeks and had talked to me about it, it was such a good help for her, and recommended them to me. And I'd reached out to them, but I can't get on an appointment with them for 6 months. And so I'm like, well, there's, not a lot of point in that. And so, for right now, I didn't take the time to look at any of their videos. I think I did a long time ago. I've run into them before. I've known who they were. And for whatever reason, when I maybe had clicked onto their YouTube channel long ago, it just at that point didn't really click or resonate with me. So I didn't, follow up and watch it. But this was the right time, because that's what I did over the weekend. I had some of their webinars that you can get for purchase, as well as the videos that they have on YouTube. And then they have a couple of free webinars that you can get as well. And so I really worked with that over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and as long as I was listening to these, and they go through a lot of information, and then they do guided grounding, clearing, healing sessions, and really get very, very specific, which was something else that I've had. My guides have been telling me that specific work needs to be done. I've always been a big fan and recommended, and I know that it has been a useful tool for me to do clearing and grounding exercises. And, but I've known that what I do for myself helps my twin, but I've never really done a whole lot of extremely specific work in, doing it consciously, for my twin as much as for myself. I have some, because Cassidy Kane's, exercises do that, but really Jill and Remy, they talk about it, and so you get more of the information about the why and the background of what you're doing and how it's helping, and what this process is of the dance, of the back and forth, that we come into once we've met our twin, or even if you haven't met your twin but that you're going to, because a few of you are in that, that's your pathway. But in any case, you're still in the process of clearing and healing and clearing. And I've done some energy healing more recently, because it's what I was being led to do. But I really just discovered that, there's even more that can be done. And it really is kind of an ongoing process, because as you continue to do healing and clearing, you have, you get to deeper and deeper layers. You're not able to just necessarily go through everything all at once until, certain layers are cleared, and then you kind of work, at that point, and then you can go into deeper clearing. So by Sunday, I felt a huge shift by about noon on Sunday. Before that, I was still kind of like in a process of, I'd feel pretty good for, maybe 20 or 30 minutes, and then I'd be back into tears again and feeling hopeless and despair. Another thing for me is I have really learned that when I try to tell myself and try to believe or align myself with something that's not part of like my twin flame internal map, that my soul basically screams out at me and doesn't let me, won't give me quiet and rest until I align myself again with what my internal map is. And I started feeling like that's what's going on. I knew that I needed to surrender, and there was a aspect of surrender, and then putting things in the hands of the universe and allowing the universe to guide. But what I had kind of done with that process was tried to align myself with the beliefs that I know a lot of other people hold, and I will just say that if that's where you're at in your thinking and in your mind, then that's on your internal path, and that's what you're supposed to do. But a lot of twin flame people on the journey really have this very strong that we just have to surrender it and allow the universe to bring our twin in, because it's out of our hands, and there's nothing, we shouldn't be trying to make things happen. And because that was kind of the tone of the message. I mean, the message that I sent to my twin was extremely loving, open, and vulnerable. And I know that's what I was supposed to do. But I'd also said, I just want to respect your space, and I won't be, reaching out to you again. And I didn't even say it so clearly, like, absolutely, I'm never going to talk to you again. It was just kind of like, I'm, sharing myself and where I'm at, and then, saying, and I just, I want to respect your space. And so in my mind, it was kind of like, I'm not going to allow myself to reach out to him again. I'm cutting that off because I'm not supposed to. I need to let the universe do it and let the universe, bring him in, and it's just, now it's in their hands. And what I really discovered over the last, week was that that's not what the universe wants me to do. And I'm sharing this with you because it will resonate maybe with some people it won't, and I totally, get that. But the main point is actually that I'm sharing with you is that inside of us, we do have a map toward reunion with our twins, and we've got to be true to that and discovering what that is. And if you try to line yourself with something that's not on your map and that's not on your pathway, and your soul is just, screaming at you and won't let you go with that and go that direction with it, then surrender to that. That's the thing that you need, you need to surrender to. And so what was really starting to come through to me after I did all this healing and grounding, and then I shifted, and I really felt like from noon on Sunday and then through the rest of this week, it just kept sinking in deeper and deeper, just this, that I've leveled up. It is very much the pathway of twins to go through this constant cycle of the phoenix. And being a Scorpio, I tend to do that anyway, in my life. And then now that I'm on a twin flame journey, that is with the twin flame journey for all of us, whether you have Scorpio in your chart or not, you're going to be having that experience of death and rebirth. And each time it's into a new level. And so you rise up out of the ashes again, and you into this full glory of this, this rebirth, and then live like that for a while. And then it's time for that to die in order for another thing to rise up from those ashes. And that's what I really felt like I had, had really accomplished. And there was this next, next phase now that I'm entering into. And I think it's really interesting too, because it's coming up right here just before the full moon and which is on the day of the summer solstice, which is totally a gateway and an entering into something new. It's an absolute shift and a portal for what's next. I also feel it's very, very significant that that Mars goes direct on, or goes stationary and then turns direct, I think on the 29th of June. So just right after the 9 days after the solstice, which is also very significant because what's being brought up right now through Mars having been in retrograde over the last 3.5 or 4 months, I'm not sure how long. But this has been, the masculine, relooking and going back and digging up all of what was left to dig up. And first of all, starting in Sagittarius and then going back through Scorpio, and now it's going to be turning direct through Scorpio again, and then moving on to Sagittarius again. It's extremely, the themes of that are really, really important for the masculine. And so what I was learning, what I learned from the process that I went through this weekend in the clearing and the healing with the guided, from Jill and Remy, was that there really are dark energies that are attached to us. They go, even through all time, spaces, and dimensions, because all of the people that I'm talking to, you guys are all star seeds from very, very, very ancient souls, highly evolved souls. We've done this kind of thing before, but it's been I think it's kind of been like timeline wise, it's been a while since we've ascended, because we've, come back down into the earthly energies or even, lower energies on other places. And we've collected a lot of stuff along the way. I know that in preparation for this particular lifetime where everything is culminating in a really big way for Earth Ascension, we've lived a number of lifetimes here on Earth or in other places as well, where we've collected and experienced the very kinds of things that we wanted to clear. And a lot of times that involved people who were, really engaged in the dark energies, or even in some cases we've had, some of us are such high level kind of, well known as missionaries or whatever, star seeds, and our skills and our abilities are so, so highly known that we're being watched. We're being watched by some of the darker energies that don't want to, see the earth progress. And the thing is like, I don't want to overemphasize that to the point to say it's, we should just be watching around, every corner and being afraid of what's going to happen, what's going to jump out at us, because obviously that's, if our vibration lowers into a state of fear, we're actually attracting those darker energies. But sometimes they're still there until we learn how to clear them. And secondly, I know that there's a lot of people who are like, well, I just need to leave my twin alone because they're working through their own thing and they need to do that. We need to give them the time and space to do that. Well, I agree with that partly, but there is, first of all, you and your twin, we are connected in ways that are, no matter what work we do, we're going to be, it's going to have a ripple effect on them anyway, whether we intend for that work to, affect them or not. But if we put our intention on certain things that they don't know how to do themselves because they're not, quote unquote, awakened or aware, like we are, I feel like, they're exactly where they're supposed to be in that regard. But because we are the ones that know about things, like, for example, grounding. Grounding is so important right now with ourselves as well as our twins. And our twins they are working through a lot of stuff and clearing a lot of things, even on their own, or we're doing stuff that is affecting them. But if they're not properly grounded deep into the very center of the earth, that energy can get stuck and not have a place to go out. So it can slow down the process. So basically, by doing really concerted effort of going through the healing exercises, and also specifically because I was saying that as well, I'd been shown that we really we can speed up the process a lot by being specific with the kind of healing that we're doing, and with the different energies that we're working with in that regard. So it's something, I think that we should really consider doing, even just for our own sake and the sake of our twins, but also for the collective, because we're all very, very connected. Most of us have many star sisters and brothers who are, who have incarnated on this mission that we're, the same soul families and the same monads and so on. And even those of us who are a little farther apart, there's still overlap. And we've come to represent, really all of Earth in a sense, and not only just from our star origins, but also from our genetic lines. And so when we're doing healing specifically for ourselves and our twins, and then we extend that to our soul groups and our monads, and then also doing it genetically through all times and generations and past lives and things like that, which Jill and Remi's healings do. They address that all the way back. Then we're really speeding up the process. And in just the week that I began to do this, I saw a huge shift. So first of all, my twin hasn't reached out to me yet, but one thing that he's been going through over the last 3 months is, well, I know what he's, I know what he's going through, because he's, I get it intuitively. And part of the intuition actually comes from the fact that his habit and like who he is and presents himself on Facebook has always been, he posts quite often, like 5 or 6 times a week at least, and often 2 or 3 times a day, in certain days, just kind of just depending on what's going on in his life. And a year ago he was dating somebody and broke up right at the time of the solar eclipse in April a year ago, and right around that time he ended up going just dead silent on Facebook for about a month and a half. And where he'd maybe made 2 posts in that time. And it even specifically had messaged me during that time that he had broken up with his girlfriend, and he's just like, I need a break from Facebook. Well, this time around, again, right at the time of the solar eclipses in March I'm feeling is when things began to happen with him. And it was in the beginning of March. He just went dead silent on Facebook, like maybe making 1 post a month, or maybe 2 posts a month, and for the last 3 months. And all of a sudden here, starting on about Sunday or Monday this week, he started posting on Facebook again, just back to his normal self. Also, when he posts on Facebook, he never posts about a girlfriend. You wouldn't even know he has a girlfriend ever from any of his past, Facebook posts. It's just about stuff in his life. And it's kind of like the old person is back. And, I feel like that was going to probably happen anyway. But I don't think it's insignificant that it happened right after I started doing all of his clearing for him. The second thing that occurred, that I also get confirmation that what I was doing, and not just for him, for me, this healing and clearing that I was doing for the 2 of us. And the second thing that I get is confirmation for what it did, and that it was, effective, is that I have a star sister that lives in New Zealand, she's an energy healer as well, and she messaged me on Monday, and she said that she had seen, all of a sudden she was walking down to the beach, and then she just for some reason started thinking about me, and then had a vision of seeing me. And this vision, again, it's like representative. So just so you understand, it's, or may really actually feel like it happened in fifth dimension. And I think that when she saw it, she was being shown what had already occurred, because I feel at that point I was clear. So she was shown me like in a fetal position and shaking and having like a really dark energy that was attached to me. I feel like when I lowered my vibration through my sadness and despair that I was going in over the weekend, all of those dark energies just, came and attached to me. That's what they're waiting for. But there's wisdom in that. So by me having this, this process of leveling up to, like being ready for a new phase. And it was important that I learn, what steps to take next, and kind of going into deeper. Again, it's not something I'd never heard about before, but I went far deeper into it than I had in the past. And it was time for that to happen. And the universe led me to send him that message, really at this point, just for me, in order to kind of push me to a point where, I did some important things of surrendering to the universe and putting things in their hands. And then also kind of still learning to stay within, true to my own inner pathway in that regard. But then it pushed me into this, feeling of sadness and despair, which lowered my vibration, brought in these darker energies they're already there. Like those darker energies had things to do with my twins' past, my past, and they needed to be dealt with. But by me, having grown to this point in my experience, and then having my energy drop down, my vibration drop down, so that they could, kind of jump on me in a sense, then gave me the push to find out how to clear them. And so this is what this sister had seen. And she said that she and two other people laid me out on like a crystal bed or some kind of, they laid me out, and they just put healing love and energy over me until like this darkness went away. And she could tell that the darkness was connected to my twin and his ex-wife in particular. And so, when she told me that, I was like, that is really interesting, because it just actually affirms that these are the things that I was dealing with. And up until this point, I think I would have kind of been more along the lines like, yeah, I think dark energies exist, but, as long as we don't lower our vibration or give them any, mental power, then they can't really have effect over us. And that isn't entirely true. We, especially as twins, we're beings of light, that we have drawn the attention of the dark forces. And so they really are out there ready to attach to us wherever we do get them a toehold. And so if we can consciously be aware of their existence, and then learn how to, clear them out, and then also to protect continually, put extra layers of protection around ourselves and our twin, it is going to help the process. And so after, and she did then we worked together and did an energy healing, which was great. And then, but I still felt like there was somebody else that I had been trying to reach out to for some time. And we, both of us have been like, oh, let's call and talk. And then we never did. So finally I said, well, this is a good time to do that. So her name is April. And I reached out to her. She had done a reading with me about a month and a half ago. And I reached out to her for some more work, some energy healing. And so we did a session, and she told me more about herself and her background. And I said, what came to me after we'd had our session was that she would be the right person to work with me to bring something that I felt as soon as I'd gone through this process over the weekend. I really had felt that I wanted to bring to you guys a really good tool that would lead, guided meditation or clearing, grounding, healing, protecting tool. And I said, what I would like to do is do it in the form of a seminar. And we've actually already scheduled the seminar. It's going to be on July 5th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to put information about it, in the comments or in the information below. So you can click on this video info and get the information on that call. And we're going to do it as a seminar call, and we're going to do it for a low price. I'm going to do it for $22 right now. And when you'll be a live call, she'll do basically it's going to be like a training, and then it's also going to be an real live healing session for everybody who's on the call. As you know, a lot of times the or you know, in every case, people who do the healing, their you know, rates are running at around $150 an hour, and upwards of that, up to, you know, 200 and so or more. And it's always worth it. I absolutely, you know, believe that we all need to, you know, engage in these tools, and it's definitely worth these people's time, you know, who are dedicating their lives to, you know, their skills and their abilities to helping us. And, you know, definitely they shouldn't be charging any less than that, because it takes a toll on them, and they, you know, and we're thankful for them using their skills. But to join this call at a low price of just $22, you will also get a recording of the call, and then you can listen to it over and over again as many times as you need. And the call will still be, or the webinar will be available for purchase even after the live session, but we'll raise the price to $33. So if you at least sign up for the call, even if you can't be on it, you'll get the recording of it, and you'll get it for the price, you know, the lower price point. And then I also will put her information, so if anybody does before then or after then want to work with her for energy healing, like my other friend Lisa, who's an amazing energy healer as well, so is April, and she's got a lot of experience. She's, you know, she's a twin flame herself, and she has a lot of experience in and very, very big resume. She has a big resume, galactic resume, and here for that purpose. So, as in fact, I'm going to be posting this video today, and then later this evening also I have an interview with Lisa that I'll be posting, where you can, not Lisa, I'm sorry, with April, where you can hear more about her and her background, and you know, see the details of the upcoming webinar. So that will be something that I've decided to bring to you. I know that part of my my own personal mission with Twin Flames and for the world, the message "send me to unite," I always knew it had more meanings than just sending me to unite with my twin. And I was definitely getting very specifically that my role is also to be uniting other twin flames with each other for, you know, helping us, you know, in this joint purpose, like whether it's helping you guys, you know, connect better to what your mission will be and support with your mission, or, you know, just in, you know, like networking within the twin flame community for help and support. And I don't know yet exactly, you know, I'm sure that many more things will develop in the future as I continue to, you know, come into my own mission. I'm still in the process of you know, going through my own beloved Pathfinder journey. And so that's one of the reasons I also want to be bringing this seminar to you, and I will have others as well, because I feel like there's a lot of people out there who they email me and they identify themselves to me, and then I'm like, there's some really valuable you know, people out there that have some great skills, abilities, and are doing great work, and I want to bring that to all of you to help you you know, help you on your journey. And yeah, so that will be something to watch out for. I just wanted to tell you a couple fun things. So I really finally got to the point during the week where I was like, you know, I feel like I'm being told that I'm not supposed to just sit back and, you know, wait for my twin to contact me. But I didn't want to jump into that. Like, I'm really conscious of whenever I have, you know, reached out or done anything, that it's you know, by guidance, by what I'm followed to do. And so it's funny, on Tuesday, I was meeting a friend of mine, and we'd gone to a little place every now and then. I meet him in town here, and we'd gone there, and we're just going to have a beer, and I didn't like anything that was on tap. So he's like, well, let's go up to this place in Hayden. And it's not a place I've only been there twice, because it's just far enough off my beaten path that I don't go up there. But I was like, okay, you know, might as well. And, you know, he's like, well, get a bite to eat as well. I'm like, that sounds good. So as I was getting in my car, all of a sudden I had this random thought come into my mind, and I said, if I meet somebody named, and I said my twin's name, my twin flame's name, if I meet somebody of that name when I'm there, then I know I'm supposed to reach out to him. Not today necessarily, but just, you know, at some point. And so then I just forgot about the thought, just left my mind. And my twin has a name that's just as common for a man to have as a woman. So it's one of those names that's, you know, kind of in between. And so we walk into this little place. It's a Tuesday night at about 6:30, and it was packed. There was not a seat available anywhere, and except at the bar. And so the bar is a great big wide bar, long, and at the very end of the bar, like at the, you know, the very end, there was a couple sitting here at two places. The bar was so wide, there was two there. And then there were, you know, kitty corner from it. On the corner, there were two spots right there, right in front of us. And he's like, well, let's sit here. I said, okay. And so we sat down and we were, looking at food and whatever and ordering. And then we started talking to this couple. They're about in their, maybe mid to late 50s, early 60s. And just kind of having a good time talking with them. And we talked and found out they just moved here recently. So finally, the woman, because the two men were sitting on the corner opposite each other. And then she and I were over here. And I was telling them about Priest Lake. And they'd never been to Priest Lake because they just moved here from like California or Louisiana. They kind of lived in both places. So I got up and went around the table to talk to her and show her pictures of Priest Lake. And then I said to her, by the way, I'm Kimberly, what's your name? And then she said her name and I was like, it was my twin's name. And I was just like, I was shocked because when I had said this little sign, I was like, oh yeah, I probably won't meet anybody by that name, or if I do, it's going to be maybe my waiter or something, because I don't plan on going here and talking to anybody. And here, the only person that I even ask what their name is, is when I'm there, and it's my twin's name. And so I told her, I said, you know what? You're a sign from the universe for me, because I said, if I meet somebody by the name of such and such tonight, then I know I'm supposed to reach out to my friend of the same name. And she was just like, oh, you believe in the universe, and so do I. And so we ended up having this amazing connection. I'm going to meet her today. She's interested in my business, how we fund it. She's looking for a job, and by the way, she's the same star sign as my twin too. She's a Leo, and it's just fascinating to me because Leo's a perfect personality, to go out and talk to lots of people, and all of the things that it requires to do this, how we fund it business for a fundraising development coordinator, have to do with what she's good at, and she has a lot of experience actually. So it seems like it's a great fit, and it just also blew me away because she was saying, I was hoping to find somebody, people in this area that are spiritual, and she'd only, like I said, they'd only been there 2 weeks. And so I thought, later on, isn't that interesting? The universe helped us meet, and they made her, she manifested me as much as I manifested her. And I even look at, like, this is a restaurant I never go to. Oh, another thing too is she said, we weren't even going to come here tonight, but I was making a lasagna, and then I thought, oh, I don't feel like, finishing it tonight. And I just like put, all the components to it aside. And then we just decided, well, let's go out, let's get something to eat. And my husband was like, well, maybe we'll order food in. And then we just decided to walk here because they live like half a mile away. So they walked there and ended up being there right when we were. So again, it's just like, there's no coincidences. Everything is, divinely ordained. So the next fun little sign. So I've been getting signs every single day, and very, very clear signs. And the second one was actually yesterday. I was like just kind of sitting around. I thought, look at some pictures of my twin. Lately, I've kind of avoided looking at pictures of him because it kind of brings pain. And, missing him and just, the separation and everything. And so I thought, I'm going to look at pictures of him. So I pulled up my file on my phone that have lots of pictures of him. And the one that I decided to look at was one that he sent me. Actually, the last picture that he sent me, and it was about a month and a half, 2 months ago. It was right at the time where he stopped talking to me. And he had sent me this picture, and it's black and white. He sent it in black and white. And it's a picture of him standing in front of, giant, huge, 767 engine. And he's standing there in his, it was actually just before he got promoted to captain. So he's in his co-pilot, 3 stripes on his sleeves. And he has a lanyard around his neck. And a lanyard around his neck, I decided to zero in. So, well, first of all, I wasn't looking at the lanyard. I just decided to zero in on the picture because, it's a very wide angle picture with just him standing there in this huge engine. And I zeroed in on the picture and noticed that the lanyard on his neck, it's a lanyard I have another picture of him wearing. And in the other picture, because it's up around here, all you see is the words in the lanyard. Lanyard says, now it's time. Now it's time. And I had always kind of looked at that as there was a point where I was like, wow, that's the first time I really noticed those words and felt that was a sign. And that was back actually in January when I ended up contacting him and going out and seeing him. And so this time when I looked at it, I actually think it's a different lanyard because the positioning of the words is slightly different, but the full words that before were farther up around his neck, now they start here, and it goes, the words say, contract now, it's time. Contract now, it's time. And as I zeroed in on that, and I was like, even when I was looking at these pictures, I was like, I wonder if I'll see a sign. And I look up on that, and because I had been feeling like it's time, like I do need to contact him, and it says contract now, it's time. I'm like, That's really interesting. And then I've had a couple more. Like they just I won't go into the details, but they keep popping up and in ways that are like fun. It's just really fun to watch. Like where I went on Facebook and looked at one post. I do have to tell this one. This one's funny. So my post about my new puppy, and somebody had commented on the post because I was talking about how she was whining our first night. We didn't get much sleep. And my friend had commented on there, and she didn't know that it was a girl. So she goes, "Take him to bed with you." And then right underneath that was a post that my twin had just made. And so, here was my post with my friend's comment that says, "Take him to bed with you." And underneath that is his post, and his words were, "It's on its way." And it was something that he had just bought. He had bought something online. And so he had a picture of what he had just bought online, and he goes, "It's on its way." And so here I am, I'm feeling like, our union is coming really soon. And I go into my Facebook and I see her saying, "Take him to bed with you," and him saying, "It's on its way." So anyway, you guys, I will definitely keep you posted about all of these things, but I want to just encourage you to consider doing the webinar. You can go ahead and make the purchase for it now. It's going to be just a little over 2 weeks from now, almost 3 weeks, I guess, July 5. And until then, I'll keep you posted with other developments and things that come up. I think actually How We Fund It finally, by next week, should finally have the contract with the merchant account, which is kind of our last thing, and then a few website issues that we're still finishing up, and we'll be able to give a post and some information on that, which I know a lot of you have been asking me about. As also Scott from Scott and Cece is involved with How We Fund It. And I feel like How We Fund It is going to be an answer for a lot of you for something you may want to be involved in for mission. And I'm certainly no pressure or anything like that. No expectation, just that I do think that there's some of you who it might be the thing you're looking for. And I hope you all have a fantastic weekend if I don't make a post before next week. And much love to everyone. Thanks for liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. Bye.